W. Laurence, The Master Key. Chapter 3, Lesson 2, The Hurry Habit. Ready? Let's go. If the student wishes to get his mind under control, he should cultivate the habit of avoiding hurry. That's one of the first things to undermine the growth and expansion of its powers. Some people do not come under the category of hurry, but they worry, which is almost as bad. Where concentration is aimed at, the mind should be like the surface of a lake, which permits reflection that both worry and hurry ruffle the surface, so it can no longer fulfill its proper function, which is to hold and meditate upon. Hurry and worry cause a ceaseless agitation, a turning back of the mind upon itself, a going over the same chain of thought in the endeavor to find a solution to some pressing question. It is well known that in such cases the solution is rarely forthcoming by such a method, any more than a name or a fact which escapes the memory for the moment is recalled by intense thinking. It is when the mind is relaxed, when it has gone along another line, that the missing information is ushered into the consciousness or brought forth from the inner recesses of the mind to the objective portion of it. Different temperaments find the different methods appeal to them for the stilling of the mind. The phlegmatic, slow-moving mind is not touched by a devotional attitude, nor is the devotional temperament attracted by the purely intellectual, whilst the active type does not find comfort in either intellectual or devotional ways. How can the hurry habit be most effectively checked? Not always by trying to induce a state of peace of mind within the mind, but by the removal of one of the most potent causes of it, the attempt at doing too much and the undue or exaggerated importance we attach to things. It has been noted that when even a great man passed away, the world did not come to a standstill, but went on its way as before. The work was not interrupted, but proceeded again. The man might be missed, but not for long, so that the average man need not fear that if he omits to do this or that, dire consequences will result. He will know by experience what he can accomplish, and he will be unwise if he set himself more to do than that. It may be that he has duties set for him which have to be got through. Most of this could be avoided by refusing to undertake more responsibilities than he knew he could fulfill. Many wish to be helpful, to give no offense, to be willing to give a fellow being a lift. Excellent intentions, but there are limits to everything, and a line has to be drawn. Better decline things than to leave unfinished or badly done tasks. We see on every hand the botched, slipshod work, and not only does it make trouble for others, but it makes the creator of it slipshod in character. It prevents his rising, prevents his bringing forth and giving, as he should do, his very best to the world. The world is always looking for the best and will pay the highest price for it, but the markets are flooded with so-called second-rate things, which no one wants but those who cannot afford to buy better. On them it has a demoralizing effect as well as their makers, and therefore the habit is bad all around. Thoroughness reacts beneficially on the mind. By attempting less, whatever is taken up will be done more thoroughly, and this thoroughness will react on the mind, and the thinking will be more thorough. When there is no need to hurry, the thought can act more effectively, more clearly, and it will, as a matter of fact, act more rapidly as time goes on, so that the fancy giving up of things it was deemed to be our duty to perform will be seen to have resulted in adding to our efficiency. Method and system will be inculcated, and these in themselves will be invaluable adjuncts to the gaining of concentration and will culture. By a system, one can learn that priceless art of economizing time, because the stilling of the mind will result in your seeing more clearly where you can save time, and how things may be more effectively performed and fit in with other things. Thus, you will eventually be in a position to take up things which you had laid aside. Thinking. You could not squeeze in the necessary time for their accomplishment. Merely reading the rules, the systems, and methods laid down in this work will do little unless they are followed up by actual practice. It is evident that once the mind is stilled, it is more easy to concentrate it on one subject and keep it there. And when this can be accomplished, you may be said to have reached the consummation of your desires. There are few more inspiring ideas to a man than that he can who thinks he can. Is this really true? It may well be asked. Does the mere fact of thinking we can accomplish a certain thing, attain a cherished goal, really enable us to do it? The simplicity of it seems alluring, but at the same moment, so repellent, because so improbable. It's one of the 20th century aphorisms of the new psychology, a statement that even a Smiles might question. That's a proper name. Or the most bigoted optimist to entertain a doubt about, yet it's thoroughly scientific. Let's examine the assertion a little bit. It would have, a man would prove it just as he would a theorem in Euclid. He would have to admit that all living psychologists now admit. In other words, that the mind does not express a quarter of what it might do. That beneath the threshold of consciousness there reside extensions of the powers exhibited in part. That consciousness as we know it is a very complex thing and not a simple phase of mental activity as once supposed it to be. Experimental psychology has disclosed the fact that there are millions of energies in man. What may we not become when we learn to use them all? This is the work which lies before us at the present time, and which the coming ages will see immensely advanced. The merest tyrant knows that if a man thinks he cannot do a thing, he rarely does it, or if he does, not done brilliantly. It's obvious that when a man doubts his own powers, he does not make the fullest use of them. Confidence in oneself has always been considered indispensable for success in whatever direction a man might seek it. For the diffident man does not really put forth his abilities. Therefore, he naturally only evokes part of his abilities. The first idea arising from the statement is that if a man can only think in a certain manner, he will be able to do more. And this is because thoughts running in a particular direction endow one with more force. Just as the studying of a difficult problem causes a rush of more blood to the brain than when conversation or light reading is being engaged in. It's a law of nature that where there is a demand, there is supply. By the entertaining of this idea that we direct the attention into a particular channel, the conception of possibility arises. And with this, the latent power that is coiled up in everyone is stirred up. It is the call of the mind for something, and an immediate response is made to the demand. If there is more power, then more ability must be the result. And with ability, it is possible to double one's usefulness. Concentration demands ability to keep the mind one pointed, and by the study of the laws of mind, we're able to focus the mind upon whatever we desire. Seeing that the mind is made up of innumerable mental actions, for any change of a decided nature to take place, there must be a predominant tendency of the mind, so that this belief in ourselves can only become really alive by its overriding all other thoughts in the mind. Now, this is the attitude that one must taken up by the man who would concentrate successfully. He must believe that he can, and by so doing he will impregnate his mentality with the force of the idea until it becomes a fixed thought. Then it is that he will awaken the power that will render it possible for him to do what he has set his mind upon. Remember, that is the power you are to evoke that will enable you to do. Not the mere thinking that you can, and this is a point which needs bearing in mind. Too many people imagine they have only to think, and their power is finished. With the power which belief brings to one, a rearrangement of mental atoms takes place, and the efforts to control the mind gain perceptible strength from day to day. It is only he who thinks he can concentrate, who can feel that he can concentrate. There must be feeling and thought brought into line before much will be accomplished, and this emphasizes the necessity of preliminary training. It's a course of preparation which the mind undergoes quite prior to the actual practice of concentration. Why should belief bring power? Well, for one thing, it supplants doubt. And a whole volume might be written on the part which this mental nightmare, doubt, has played in the evolution of man, casting him back into darkness every time he's endeavored to step toward the light. In my work entitled The Immanence of God, Know Thyself, I have placed before the reader the evil that is wrought on man. It is so subtle, so insidious in its workings that its presence is frequently not suspected. Chapter 4 is Lesson 3. Doubt bars the way. That's for the next video. See you there. LWD Laurence, the Master Key.